Welcome to a special episode of Alison's Adventures, filmed entirely on a GoPro. Aloha! My name is Alison Teal. I'm like a female Indiana Jones, but with a pink surfboard. In my Alison's Adventures film series, I travel the world, teaming up with a local companion for a wild and comedic adventure to share with you ancient secrets of survival, sustainability, happiness, and of course, surfing. Join me in this episode for an inside look at the most challenging adventure of my life.
Discovery Channel's latest hit, Naked and Afraid. A man, a woman, alone, without clothes, in the wild, finding food, shelter, really just trying not to die.
And yep, they called me. I was only given 1 week to transform from surfer girl to survivor.
Papa,
I went straight to tell my parents.
I just got a call from Discovery Channel.
Hold up, let me introduce you to my fam. That's my mom. She's a world-renowned yoga teacher. And my papa is a pioneer in green living and a photographer. And I was that Tarzan child raised around the world, homeschooled, wherever his wild photo expeditions took us. We've been the 3 adventurers for as long as I can remember.
Hey guys, I'm here with my family.
Hi there.
In between adventures, we built our Swiss Family Robinson off-the-grid home entirely by hand with no electricity and no running water. Hale Kai, or Ocean House, is still our home and a beautiful retreat center where people come from all over the world to experience living in nature. And we still do pretty much everything together. So they were the first people I turned to when I got my package from Discovery.
They sent me this and they told me that my locations is the Maldives and that there's a camera in here. Oh sweet, it's a GoPro. And I'm gonna have to document everything on this until I leave next week.
GoPro bonding time. My Survivor Pro Papa said the best way to prepare was to go into the Hawaii wilderness and try surviving alone.
How long do you think I should go for?
At least 3 days, trying to figure out what to eat, what to catch, what to cook, and go from there.
So with my knowledge from my days as a hula dancer, I whipped up a coconut shell bra and tea leaf skirt and set off into a remote valley. I had been there once before, a while back, so I was pretty sure I could handle this. But when I made it down, a massive storm hit. The valley began to flood. I knew I needed shelter to keep from getting hypothermic, so I gathered everything I could find and made a sort of ugly shack. The storm was not letting up.
I'm just gonna have to try to wait this out.
And then night settled over the valley. I shivered through the night and woke up, trapped in the valley. I went out along the river that had formed to look for any sign of food.
Coconuts!
It's amazing how a tiny victory in survival can mean the world. Without a sharp tool, I could not get the darn thing open. The storm was still raging, and it was almost nightfall when I finally got it open. It was totally rotten and completely inedible. If I couldn't survive a couple days, how was I going to survive 21? The next day, things finally dried out. But when I made it home,
Mom?
my parents were nowhere to be found. There was a note on the table that stated they had to leave early for their adventure in Peru.
Just remember, you were born naked and survived us as parents.
What the heck was I gonna do without them to help me prep?
I'm gonna die.
I decided to go to the only place where I can find answers. Whether it's surfing or swimming, the ocean is a meditation for me. Dolphins are pretty cool too. And after playing Pass the Leaf for a while, I realized what I needed to do. I had to return to my Hawaiian Tarzan child roots. So I set off to visit Charlie Grace.
Charlie is the man who would know anything and everything about ancient Hawaiian everything.
I explained to him the premise of the show, and he took me around showing me the plants that would aid in my survival. He stressed the coconut tree as the tree of life, and how to make traditional Hawaiian shelters. Then we moved on to fishing tools, and rope made out of coconut husk. I was so thankful he reinstilled confidence in me, and now I was on a roll and knew exactly who I needed to meet up with next.
So I'm heading over to meet Coconut Pete right now.
Coconut Pete is the master of everything coconut, and I wasn't surprised to find him up in a coconut tree. He's a friend from childhood who originally taught me the coconut hat. He said first I needed to brush up on my coconut hat weaving.
Over under, just like surfing.
Little did I know that this would be my true lifesaver on the show. The #1 priority in survival is shelter, and your #1 shelter is clothing. And then he shared his 2-step method for opening a coconut. A bit easier than my method.
That is serious skill.
Surf's up.
Woo, surf's up!
We had to make sure that our hats would survive the elements. So we went out to catch a wave. And Coco Pete took a liking to my GoPro. But a hat wasn't gonna keep me warm in a storm. So I went off to meet Ina. Ooh yeah, a friend from Samoa. When we were building our house, Ina loved to hang out in our coconut trees. And he had a great idea for keeping warm.
One coconut sleeping bag.
One coconut sleeping bag.
Ina grew up in a remote village with only natural elements to keep him alive. The blanket was like making a puzzle with no picture to follow. But finally, I got the hang of it. The last thing I had to do was master fire by friction with sticks. But they had to be sticks you would find in a tropical environment. Try as I might, I could not get a flame. The next morning, I knew what I needed to do to get answers. And as ocean luck would have it, I got to talking to this girl in the lineup who turned out to be a pro survivalist. She reminded me of Pocahontas and had just survived for over a year on the coast of British Columbia in a rowboat with nothing but a cat. In between sets, I pestered her about making fire.
You know how to make fire? Yeah. Oh, shit!
And thus, us two survivalists set off into the unknown of someone's backyard. We gathered all the necessary items to make a tropical bow drill kit. Coconut, Keave, and How. It was pretty cool to have a girl power team, and her advice was extremely helpful. And I was so stoked when I got it in my first try.
Look at that! We're smoking.
Until we almost burned down her apartment.
Set the smoke alarm off.
And then came my last sunset. And I found the only way to master something is to teach others. So I gave Ina a call, and in exchange for my coconut blanket lesson, I taught him how to make fire with a bow drill.
That's how we make fire.
If there's a few things I've learned from this experience, it's the importance of turning to nature, your friends and family, and the ancient wisdom of our past. It may not seem like it, but I was still scared shirtless to begin naked and afraid the next day. But thanks to this week, I discovered the 5th most important element in the sacred order of survival: shelter, water, fire, food, and a sense of humor. They can take my clothes, but they can't take my smile.
And I'm joined now by Alison Teal from Hawaii. Aloha to you.
Allison and Jonathan, welcome to the show.
There's a new season of Naked and Afraid. Have you seen this show?
How much did you all get for doing this? It wasn't a competition?
A coconut.